I have a love-hate relationship with Mansory. Because they make some really individual looking versions of expensive cars, you can of course have something quite fun and individual looking in your GTA garage while staying true to life. They also ruin a lot of cars, and you'll have to look at their website to see what I mean. Anyway, one of the cars that they do some work on is the Maserati Levante. Yesterday Hellraiser 13 said, can you do me a customization video on this car? And to be honest, I didn't have anything fully ready yet for my Wednesday video, so I thought, well, I can do this fairly quickly. So rather unusually for me, but this has hopped to the head of the queue. Okay, well, let's head into the workshop and see how we make our own Mansory Levante. To start, you will need a Lampadati Novak. They're 608k and they are thankfully still available. Of course, the armour, brakes, etc. are up to you. If we look at the front bumpers, only the carbon race diffuser really works. The standard one obviously is no good. The other ones all hang down in some weird way, so you only really have one option, and it doesn't have the little winglets at the end that we need, but it is at least fairly close. On the back there are two you could pick. The carbon street diffuser is about the closest we're going to get, but as we go through them all, if you have a look, there's not massive differences. But the street diffuser has plenty of ribs on it, which what you need, and the carbon touring diffuser is quite similar, so I would say either of those is a perfectly good Mansory diffuser. Engine of course up to you. Now on the exhaust you can see the sort of side by side unique shaped exhausts on the real car. The stock exhausts are like those, only switched round, and the titanium ones again are similar but with those blue tips that we don't want. So the stock exhaust is the only viable exhaust in my opinion for this car. Moving on down to the hood, starting obviously with a clean stock hood. As you move through, it's quite exciting when you get to the street hood, because the street hood is very close to the shape of the Mansory hood, and I swear that Rockstar must have gone to the Mansory website to get this. So carbon street hood is what you want. Moving on down, the race hood is not quite there, and of course the cowl hood is just amusing. So carbon street hood it is. That is excellent and a real Mansory signature. Headlights, up to you. I've got xenon, obviously white from the car meet are a little bit better. There's no livery on the car, but I like to show the liveries whilst we're doing this. Obviously stripes and things don't show on the carbon bonnet. So we go with the sensible, and then we end up with a lot of racing liveries, and I don't know, I could be proved wrong, but I don't really see a Maserati SUV as a race car. So anyway, moving on. As with my previous Mansory build, make yourself a Mansory number plate of course. Moving on to the respray, I've used a crew colour. It came from Custom Cars of GTA. I wanted to go with a nice bright blue and I found a lovely one on there. The link with timestamp is below and I think it looks lovely. Remember, Mansory will do whatever you want, so you're very free in this aspect to pick any colour. Last year I made the orange one, but really whatever you want, just pick a colour. The secondary colour is a bit annoying because can you see how the pearl is always there in the secondary colour? I want black for a black mirror, but I really can't have it. So that's a bit unfortunate. So I just go in the end crew colour for the secondary colour and just accept that I cannot have the black mirror that I really wanted. Of course, if you pick a colour without a strong pearl, you won't have that problem. Moving on down to skirts, the race carbon skirt seems to be the best one. It has a very subtle wing on it, and you'll see that in a minute as we go through. There's also a wing on the Mansory car, but any of the black skirts are pretty close, but I say the last one on the list does look to be the best. And you can just see the wing as I angle the car. It's very, very subtle, but it's there, look. Moving on down to the spoiler. Now, I think you have two choices here. Ideally, you would go secondary with secondary black, get your black spoiler. That way you can have shiny black, which is what I wanted for the mirror and the spoiler, because that's what the photos appear to show. Again, on this car I can't have it, so you can go primary or secondary and simply have it body colour, but that's not quite as accurate as the photos I see. Or of course just go with the carbon street wing. That's what I've done. I think that overall is the best. So at least I can have the black spoiler even if I can't have the black mirrors. On the suspension, I think Sport is about right. Stock looks to me how a stock Levante would actually be. Competition is definitely a little bit low. I mean, Mansory have lowered the car, so I think Street or Sport, up to you really. For the wheel, I wanted this GT5 wheel that Mansory make. You can read what they say about it. I think they've actually done a pretty good job because you've got the three-pointed Maserati Trident on each spoke. It looks pretty good. And they do it in black, they do it in silver, and they'll also do it in black with a coloured rim round it. Well, in GTA, if you go into the SUV section, quite appropriate, you'll see this extravaganza wheel. And it's really close. You've got bunches of 3 spokes, and you've got the plain alloy rim in this case, which you can't colour because obviously the colour is the black. So this has got you really close to the Mansory rim. Fantastic. Bulletproof tyres, of course, are optional. Onto the windows, there are smoked windows on there. I think almost nothing has limo for real. I've gone for dark smoke, but I would not say you were wrong to go for light smoke either. They're both a fairly dark tint. Well, that completes the transformation to the Mansory version of this car, and I would love to hear down below, if you do this, what colour do you decide to go for in the end? Let's have a little review of the car, but start by listening to this. That sounds absolutely marvellous. I mean, doesn't it? Really, really aggressive note to that. You can certainly sense the power of the engine underneath. And when you drive the car, again, you can sense the power of the engine. It pulls very nicely indeed. We're not talking Italian GTO here, but we do have a good level of performance for an SUV, and it is certainly one of the better SUVs in the game to drive and for outright performance. But I can hear you saying, it was only 600,000, that's not much in today's economy. Surely it handles like a bag of crap. Well, no it doesn't. It handles really nicely. Pretty neutral, but very easy to make it drift round the corners. Now, it's true that the Toros, the Lamborghini Urus, is quicker than this. It's a much quicker SUV for racing. But this car looks like a Levante, and the Toros looks as much like an Urus as I look like George Clooney, and I don't look like George Clooney. I wish I did. So what a great vehicle. It looks like the real car. You can build a Mansory version of it. It sounds good. It drives good. It's cheap, at least by today's numbers. So overall, I highly recommend this for your Mansory or your SUV or maybe some form of Italian collection. The only thing I'd say is don't make any sudden moves in it. If a motorhome coming the other way also makes a sudden move, because it may not end very well. To show your appreciation of the fact I had to ring Moore's Mutual after this and pay some money, or if you got value or entertainment from this, I would really appreciate a like. It would help me grow the channel ever so much. Comments on what you think of this build, what you've done with yours, would also be very gratefully received. I like doing build videos of something a little bit different like this on a car that already exists in the game, so if you have any ideas or requests, please let me know down below, of course, or if you've even seen one on my garage tour that you were wondering about, again, just ask. Otherwise, as my character takes the walk of shame, I thank you so much for watching.